Development and Planning Services Committee for March 11th, 2025. Having dispensed with the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and having an existing quorum, we will move straight through approval of the minutes of previous meeting and the approval of the agenda. Any changes? Being none,
Chairman.
we'll go all the way down to the debate agenda, new business, and the deputy manager, Mr. Slaughter.
We'll bring Mr. Prather.
Good morning. How y'all
Morning,
doing?
sir.
I have 3 items for your consideration this morning. The first is awarding a bid for the Sheriff's Detention Dorm project to R.D. Brown. This is obviously a exact replica, just about, of his existing F-pod up there. 46 bunks, an additional 92 people in this dorm, depending on how you arrange the beds. We had a committee. Sheriff's staff was involved in selection of R.D. Brown and the base bid of $4,235,000. Staff recommends approval.
Move to consent.
What's the ETA on this?
Another month or so before we get contracts signed and bonds, so we'll break ground hopefully by middle of May.
Yeah, but done in a year?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
I'm sorry. Less than, I think it's 330 days of construction.
No, if I could find something wrong with it, I would.
Second. Unless somebody, you already moved to consent?
Or I made a motion.
Yes,
Second.
so it is moved to consent. All right. Thank you, sir. Next item.
The next item is a contract for special inspections and material testing for the Sheriff's Detention Dorm Phase 2 project. This is an estimate for around $37,000 that allows us to meet the requirements of special inspections and material testing. Staff recommends the approval of the contractor agreement with WSP USA, Inc.
Why is this not part of the contractor's scope?
Very good question. So in our best interest as an owner and liability, as an owner and for liability issues, we contract with those services. If the GC was to have that capability, they could potentially manipulate the test.
Move to consent.
Second.
Third item for your consideration is an underground power easement with Georgia Power for the coroner's office. This is part of the renovation and addition project there. We are simply moving a transformer and having a new transformer in place for the upgrades at his facility. Staff recommends approval of the easement.
Cost for this?
No, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Development Services.
All right, the only one I have for your consideration is I call beverage license for Noria Energy Retail, Inc., doing business as Noria 221 Bobby Jones Expressway. They have applied for the sale of alcohol license to sell beer and wine for off-premise consumption from 221 Bobby Jones. They have provided all the information required, and the property has been posted on February 21st. Staff recommends approval of license April 1st, 2025 Board of Commissions.
Consent.
Second.
So moved. Planning Services, sir. Let's talk about ancillary. Is that, how do you say it? Ancillary dwelling?
Ancillary dwellings, yes, sir. So the first item up is an ancillary dwelling request to exceed the allowed 1,800 square feet. The property is 7205 Bill Dorn Road. The applicant has applied for building permits for both the main house of 4,574 square feet and an ancillary dwelling of 3,710. However, of that 3,700, only 839 square feet would be conditioned as living space. So while our ordinance requires it anything over 1,800 square feet, it does not discern between the conditioned and the unconditioned space. So that's why the request is before you. Staff's reviewed it. It is on 6.95 acres of property. So staff feels comfortable recommending approval.
Move to consent.
Second.
Is this what they call a barn dominium?
This is a big storage building with a little bit of, mother-in-law suite or, live-in space.
All right, sir. So moved. Next.
All right, next 2 items are easement encroachment agreements. The first one is for 714 Marsh Point. There are actually 2 easement encroachments, both for 5-foot-high retaining walls. The first one is inside a 5-foot drainage and utility easement on the side lot line. The second one is inside a 20-foot sanitary sewer easement. Both have been reviewed by staff and believed to be acceptable, so we are recommending approval.
Have they already been built and asking for permission after the fact, or are they asking in appropriate order.
Believe they're asking in an appropriate order. I confirm that yet.
Believe you're correct.
I believe you are correct.
To consent?
Second.
Are we moving on both of those?
No, the second item.
Second one is another 20-foot
Yeah,
drainage.
it
Okay.
is. It's a separate one. It's a 6-foot-high retaining wall along the rear property line. It's within the 20-foot drainage and utility easement. As you see in the backup, it is outside of the swimming pool, which is not within the easement, but the retaining wall is obviously within that easement. So Water Utilities has reviewed this and believes it's acceptable, so staff is recommending approval.
Move to consent.
Second.
So moved. Thank you very much. That concludes new business. No legal matters and staff reports, planning services.
All right, for your information only is the February 25 Planning Department Workload Monthly Report. Answer any questions you might have.
Any questions?
No, sir.
All righty. And
Also for your information is the January 25 Plan Review Workload Monthly Report, and I'll answer any questions you might have about that.
questions?
No, sir.
We're down about half total plan reviews from last year? Is that what I'm seeing? 22 for January of this year, 42 for January last year?
That would be correct.
All right, just double checking.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Development Services reports.
All right, the first report we have is Development Services Monthly Report. Copy of that is in the package for information only. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
Paul, just a
Point out-
reminder, is it so the housing residential permits, those from June to now, or is it?
That's July 1 until now.
July 1 is what I meant.
That's
yeah.
correct. And they're up about 30% on the residential side and about 45 on the commercial side. Would like to point out, but due to the information I emailed you all received, code enforcement has been removing signs, and you can see down there, we've already picked up close to 3,300 more than we did last year. It's almost like trying to, empty the ocean with a teaspoon, so, but they're doing a great job trying to keep ahead of that as much as possible.
Thank you.
All right, the next report I have is the financial report, and a copy of that report's there for your information, and happy to answer any questions if you have.
Questions?
No, sir.
All right, the last one I have is the temporary alcohol permits. Copy of that report's for your review.
Taken for information. Thank you, sir. Any public comments, any commissioner comments?
Mr. Chairman, if I can get you, if we can go back and get you to call for an approval of the minutes for the last meeting, we skipped over that.
Oh, sorry. May I have approval of the February 11th meeting?
February 11th.
Second.
So moved. Sorry about that, sir.
No worries.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
reminder. All right, then, seeing no other business, we have no executive session. Now that we've cleared the minutes for last meeting, we are adjourned.